I never thought I'd be the kind of man who'd have to hide a voice recorder in his own dining room. But then again, I never thought my only son would try to steal my house while I was getting treatment for Parkinson's disease. My name is Robert Chen, and I'm 61 years old. For 35 years, I built circuit boards and wrote code for tech companies in Portland, Oregon. In 2019, my partners and I sold our startup for $4.2 million. My cut was enough to set me up for a comfortable retirement. My wife, Sarah, and I bought a beautiful 5-bedroom Craftsman in the West Hills with a view of Mount Hood. We had plans, travel, grandkids someday, growing old together. Then Sarah got breast cancer. Stage 4. We had 18 months together after the diagnosis, and we made every day count. But when she died in the spring of 2023, something inside me died too. The house felt too big, too quiet, too full of memories that hurt to look at. My son Marcus tried to help. He'd come by once a week, sometimes with his wife Jessica. They'd bring groceries, check on me, make sure I was eating. I was grateful. A widower at 59, alone in a house built for a family, I needed that connection. Then last February, my left hand started shaking, just a tremor at first. I dropped my coffee mug one morning and watched it shatter across the kitchen tile. The same tiles Sarah and I had picked out together at that showroom in Beaverton. I stood there, staring at the coffee spreading across the grout lines, and I knew something was wrong. The neurologist confirmed it in March. Early-stage Parkinson's disease. Not a death sentence, he said, but it would progress. I'd need help eventually, maybe sooner than I wanted to admit. Marcus took the news hard. He cried, actually cried, when I told him. Said he'd be there for me, whatever I needed. We went to lunch at that Vietnamese place on Hawthorne that Sarah loved, and he held my shaking hand across the table. Dad, he said, I think we should set up a power of attorney, just in case. If the Parkinson's gets worse, someone needs to be able to handle your finances, make medical decisions. It made sense. Marcus was my only child. Who else would I trust? We went to a lawyer in April. Marcus drove. I signed the papers, giving him power of attorney for both healthcare and finances. The lawyer explained everything carefully, that Marcus could make decisions if I became incapable, that he had a fiduciary duty to act in my best interests, that this was standard planning for anyone with a progressive condition. This is just a safety net, Dad, Marcus said on the drive home. We're not going to need it for years, but it's good to be prepared. I believed him. By summer, the tremors were getting worse. My handwriting became illegible. I started having trouble with buttons. Jessica suggested I might want to think about assisted living eventually. Not now, she said, but maybe in a year or two. Somewhere with medical staff on site, activities, other people my age. She even brought brochures from a few places around Portland. I wasn't ready for that. I was 61, not 90. Yes, I had Parkinson's. Yes, I was lonely. But I wasn't helpless. Still, Jessica kept bringing it up. Robert, you're rattling around in this big house all by yourself. What if you fall? What if something happens and no one's here? Marcus would shush her, say she was pushing too hard. But I could tell he'd been thinking about it too. In September, Jessica started helping me with my bills. She was a real estate agent, she said. Good with numbers and organization. I had stacks of statements I'd been ignoring. Property taxes, utilities, investment accounts. She set up a system, color-coded folders, reminded me when things were due. This is what family does, she said, filing away bank statements. We take care of each other. I was grateful. I really was. My hands shook too much to write checks easily anymore. Having Jessica handle the paperwork took a weight off my shoulders. Then in October, my old business partner Henry Park called me. We'd stayed close after selling the company, met for chess every Thursday at the senior center on Division. Henry was 3 years younger than me, sharp as ever, with a wife and 2 grown daughters, who called him every week. Robert, he said over the phone, you sound different, tired. The Parkinson's, I said. It's been a rough few months. Come, stay with Diane and me for a few weeks. Get out of that house. We'll play chess, drink too much whiskey, complain about our knees. What do you say? I almost said yes. But Marcus called that same evening with a better idea. "Dad, I found this treatment center in Arizona. It specializes in Parkinson's care, physical therapy, medication management, whole thing. They have a 2-week intensive program. Insurance covers most of it." I looked at the brochure he'd emailed. The Sonoran Wellness Center, tucked into the foothills outside Scottsdale. It looked nice, professional, the kind of place Sarah would have researched thoroughly before booking. "I don't know," I said. 2 weeks is a long time. Dad, you need this. You've been declining since Mom died. Let us take care of you." Jessica got on the line. "Robert, we're worried about you. This program could really help, and it's not like you're busy here. What's keeping you in Portland?" She was right. What was keeping me? An empty house? Weekly chess games with Henry? I had no job, no hobbies I could do with shaking hands, no wife to come home to. I booked the trip for early November. 2 weeks at the Sonoran Wellness Center. Marcus insisted on driving me to the airport, helped me check my bag, walked me to security. "Call us when you land," he said, hugging me. "And Dad, don't worry about the house. Jessica and I will check on it while you're gone." I should have known then. I should have heard something in his voice too eager, too helpful. But I was tired, and my hands were shaking, and I wanted to believe my son loved me. The flight was smooth. The center was beautiful. The staff were kind. The physical therapy helped. I spent 2 weeks doing exercises, taking classes, talking to other Parkinson's patients about tremors and medication side effects, and the slow grief of losing control of your own body. I called Marcus every few days. He always answered on the first ring, always asked how I was feeling, never mentioned anything about the house. On day 12, a storm system moved into the Pacific Northwest. I saw it on the news: heavy rain, potential flooding, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. The kind of weather that knocks out power and takes down trees. I called Marcus that evening. "How's the house?" "Fine, Dad. Don't worry. I drove by this morning. Everything's secure." "Good. I was thinking I might come home a few days early. The weather sounds rough, and I don't like leaving the place empty during a storm." There was a pause. Just a beat. But I heard it. "Dad, you paid for 2 weeks. Finish the program. The house is fine." "I know, but stay in Arizona. We've got everything covered here." "We," not I. "We." I hung up, and something cold settled in my chest. Sarah used to say I had good instincts, that I could read people, see patterns. It's what made me good at debugging code, noticing what didn't fit. This didn't fit. I called the airline. Booked a flight home for the next morning, 3 days earlier than planned. Didn't tell Marcus. Just packed my bag and took a taxi to Phoenix Sky Harbor at dawn. The flight landed at PDX just after noon on a Wednesday. The storm had passed through the night before, leaving everything wet and gray. I took a lift home, watching rainwater stream down the car windows, rehearsing what I'd say if Marcus was at the house. But the street was quiet when we pulled up. No cars in the driveway. I paid the driver, grabbed my suitcase, and walked up to the front door. The lock stuck. I had to jiggle my key 3 times before it turned. When I finally got the door open, I stood in the entryway and listened. Silence. The house was dark, cold. I flipped the light switch. Nothing happened. The power was out. I left my suitcase by the door and walked through the first floor. Everything looked normal furniture in place. No broken windows. No obvious damage from the storm. I went to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator. It was empty. Completely empty. Not even condiments. Someone had cleaned it out. I went upstairs. My bedroom door was closed. I always left it open, a habit from when Sarah was sick, so I could hear if she called for me in the night. I turned the knob and pushed the door wide. The room was full of boxes. Cardboard moving boxes stacked against the walls, some labeled in marker, "Donate," "Storage," "Master Bedroom." My clothes were gone from the closet, my books were packed. Sarah's jewelry box, the one that sat on the dresser, the one I couldn't bear to put away, was inside a box marked "Estate Sale." On the bed, spread out like evidence in a crime scene, were papers, real estate documents. I walked closer, my hands shaking worse than usual, and picked up the top sheet. A listing agreement. My house. My 5-bedroom craftsman with the view of Mount Hood, listed for sale at $2,650,000. The agent's name at the bottom, Jessica Chen. I heard voices downstairs. The front door opening, footsteps. Can't believe we got it listed so fast, Jessica was saying. The market's competitive, but at this price, we'll have offers by the weekend. Are you sure he won't know? That was Marcus. My son, what if he checks his bank statements? He doesn't check anything, Marcus. I've been handling his finances for months, and with the power of attorney, we're legally authorized to. I walked to the top of the stairs. They were standing in the entryway, my son and his wife, both of them frozen, staring up at me. Robert. Jessica's voice was sharp. You're not supposed to be back until Saturday. The storm, I said. My voice sounded steady, surprisingly steady. I was worried about the house. Marcus looked at Jessica, then at me, then at the floor. Dad, we can explain. I'd like that. I came down the stairs slowly, one hand on the railing. I'd very much like you to explain why my house is for sale and why all my belongings are in boxes. Jessica stepped forward. She was wearing a navy blazer and heels, her hair pulled back like she was ready for a showing. Robert, sit down. This is going to be hard to hear, but we're doing this for your own good. My own good. You can't live here anymore. The Parkinson's is getting worse. You need full-time care, medical supervision. We found you a wonderful assisted living facility in Gresham. Without asking me, you're not capable of making these decisions anymore, she said. We have power of attorney. Legally, we can. Where's the money from the sale going? Silence. Jessica, I said, where is the money from selling my house going to go? Marcus spoke up. Some of it goes to paying for the assisted living facility. The rest, we'll manage it for you. Make sure it's invested properly. You'll manage it. Dad, you can't manage it yourself. Look at your hands. I looked down. They were shaking. They were always shaking now. But my mind was clear, perfectly clear. I want to see my bank statements, I said. Jessica's face changed. Just for a second. A flicker of something that looked like fear. Of course, I keep everything organized. Let me go get... Now, Jessica. She went to the dining room and came back with a folder. Color-coded, just like she'd promised. I opened it. The checking account I'd had for 20 years showed a balance of $1,247.18. It should have been closer to $30,000 my monthly expenses. Automatic transfers from savings. I flipped to the savings account statement. $180,000 was gone. Transferred out 3 weeks ago. Where is it? I looked at Marcus. Where's my money? It's safe, he said. We put it in a separate account. For your care. What account? Dad, you need to trust. What account? Jessica put her hand on Marcus's arm. It's in our joint account. Temporary. Just until we close on the house and can set up a proper trust for you. Your joint account. For safekeeping. I looked at my son. This man I'd raised, who I'd taught to ride a bike, to play chess, to write code, who'd cried at his mother's funeral and held my shaking hand at that Vietnamese restaurant. You're stealing from me, I said. We're protecting you, Jessica said. You're sick, Robert. You can't see it, but you're declining fast. We're doing what Sarah would have wanted, making sure you're taken care of. My wife, I said slowly, would have wanted you to steal my house and my money. This isn't stealing, Marcus said. We have legal authority. Power of attorney doesn't give you the right to enrich yourselves. That's financial abuse. You're confused, Jessica said. The Parkinson's affects memory, judgment. You gave us permission to handle your affairs. We're just executing your wishes. I looked at the listing agreement again, at the signature line at the bottom where it said Owner A Authorization. There was a signature, my signature, or something that was supposed to be my signature. But the loops were wrong. The slant was too steep. My Parkinson's tremor made my handwriting shaky, yes, but it also made certain letters distinctive. The R in Robert, for instance. I always made that capital R with a specific hook at the top, a habit from years of signing technical documents. This signature didn't have it. Who signed this? I held up the paper. Jessica glanced at Marcus. You did. Last week. When we discussed, I was in Arizona last week. Before you left then. You must have forgotten. I didn't forget. I walked to my office, Marcus's office now, apparently, since there was a laptop open on my desk and file boxes stacked where my books used to be. I found my scanner, still plugged in, and scanned the listing agreement. Then I opened my file cabinet. In the back, in a folder labeled House Purchase 2019, I found the original documents from when Sarah and I bought this place. I pulled out the purchase agreement and held it next to the listing agreement. The signatures were completely different. Someone forged my signature on this listing, I said. And I'm guessing the same person forged my signature on whatever paperwork you needed to transfer my money. Jessica's face went hard. You can't prove that. Actually, I said, I think I can. Tell me, Jessica, did your brother Greg help you with the paperwork? The one who calls himself a financial advisor but really just sells insurance? Her eyes widened. Just a fraction. I had her. I went upstairs to my bedroom, my violated, packed-up bedroom, and called Henry Park. He answered on the second ring. Robert? How was Arizona? Henry, I said quietly. I need help. Marcus is stealing from me. Can you come over? I'm on my way. Then I called my bank. Told them I had unauthorized transfers. They froze the account. All of my accounts. Downstairs, I could hear Jessica on her phone. He's back early. We need to... No, I don't know. Just come over. I sat on the edge of my bed, in this room where Sarah died, surrounded by boxes of my life, packed up like I was already gone, and I let myself feel it. The betrayal, the rage, the heartbreak. My son, my only child, the boy I worked 60-hour weeks to give opportunities I never had. This is what he'd become. Henry arrived 20 minutes later with his wife Diane and someone else, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, who introduced herself as Detective Sarah Martinez, Portland Police Bureau, Financial Crimes Unit. Henry called me, she said. He thought you might need official help. My father was scammed last year, she added quietly. Power of attorney fraud. I take these cases personally. We sat in the dining room, Jessica, Marcus, Detective Martinez, Henry, Diane, and me. I laid out the documents, the forged signatures, the transferred money, the listing agreement I never authorized. Marcus kept looking at the floor. Jessica sat with her arms crossed, defensive. This is a misunderstanding, she said. Robert gave us permission to manage your affairs, Detective Martinez said, not to sell his house without his knowledge, not to transfer his money into your personal account. Mr. Chen, did you authorize these transactions? No, I said. Did you sign this listing agreement? No. She looked at Marcus. Mr. Chen, the younger Mr. Chen, did you forge your father's signature on these documents? He said nothing. Mr. Chen, I'm asking you a direct question. I want a lawyer, Jessica said. You'll need one. Detective Martinez stood. Based on what I'm seeing here, we have evidence of forgery, financial exploitation of an elderly person, and abuse of power of attorney. That's multiple felonies. He's sick, Jessica said. He doesn't know what he's saying. The Parkinson's. I have Parkinson's, I said, not dementia. My mind is perfectly clear. Clear enough to know my son is trying to steal my house. Marcus finally looked at me. His eyes were wet. Dad, he said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We were desperate. Jessica's pregnant. We're $80,000 in debt, I thought. I thought you wouldn't miss the money. You have so much, and we have nothing. And I thought, you thought you'd steal it. I thought you'd understand eventually, that you'd forgive me. Did you think I'd forgive you for packing up your mother's jewelry to sell? He flinched like I'd hit him. Detective Martinez made a call. 2 uniformed officers arrived. They read Marcus and Jessica their rights. Jessica went silent, cold. Marcus cried, Dad, please, please. I made a mistake. I know I did, but I'm still your son. You can't. I can, I said. And I am. They put handcuffs on him. On my boy, my only child. Henry put his hand on my shoulder as they led Marcus and Jessica out to the police car. You did the right thing, he said. Then why does it feel like I'm dying? The investigation took 3 months. Detective Martinez was thorough. They found everything: the forged signatures, the money transfers, even the equity loan Marcus had taken out against my house without my knowledge. $400,000 gone into Marcus and Jessica's account. Jessica's brother, Greg, was arrested too. He'd helped them forge the documents, pose as my financial advisor when they applied for the loan. 3 conspirators. 3 people who'd decided to steal my life. The trial was in February. Marcus pleaded guilty to financial exploitation of an elderly person, forgery, and fraud. He cooperated with investigators, gave them everything. He wrote me letters from jail. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I let greed destroy us. I didn't write back. Jessica went to trial, refused to plead. Her defense was that she'd been acting in my best interests, that I was too impaired to manage my own affairs. The prosecutor showed the jury my medical records. Yes, I had Parkinson's. Yes, I had tremors and trouble with fine motor control, but my cognitive function was completely normal. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Marcus got 4 years in state prison. Jessica got 6. Greg got 2 years plus a $50,000 fine. Jessica's real estate license was revoked. The court ordered them to repay the money, all of it. But they had nothing. The $580,000 they'd stolen was gone, spent on Jessica's Tesla, on fertility treatments, on paying down their credit cards. I might get some of it back eventually, through wage garnishment after they're released. I'm not holding my breath. I kept the house. Had to refinance to pay off the illegal equity loan Marcus took out, but I kept it. 5 bedrooms, view of Mount Hood, all the memories of Sarah packed into the walls. Too big for one person. Too empty. In March, I put it on the market. My choice this time. Sold it for $2.8 million. Bought a 2-bedroom condo in a senior living community near the river. Nice place. Has a chess club. Medical staff on site. Henry visits every week. We play chess, drink whiskey, complain about our knees. His daughter Sarah started joining us sometimes. She's a nurse. She doesn't mind my shaking hands. I haven't seen Marcus since the sentencing. He's still writing letters. Jessica's pregnant now, had the baby in prison. A boy. My grandson. I've never met him. Henry thinks I should visit. Diane says everyone deserves forgiveness. Even Sarah Martinez, the detective, suggested I might find peace and reconciliation. But here's what I learned. I spent 30 years building a company, writing code, solving problems. I spent another 30 years building a marriage, raising a son, creating a life. I taught Marcus everything I knew. How to think ahead, how to plan, how to see patterns. And he used those skills to plan how to rob me. The Parkinson's makes my hands shake. I spill coffee sometimes. I need help with buttons. But I'm still here, still thinking, still capable. Marcus didn't steal from an incapable old man. He stole from his father. There's a difference. I know people think I'm too harsh. That family should forgive family. That everyone makes mistakes. But here's what those people don't understand. Trust isn't blind. It can't be. Because when trust has no boundaries, when love has no limits, you enable the worst in people. You give them permission to take and take and take, and you tell yourself it's okay because they're family. I loved my son. I still love my son. But I can't trust him. And without trust, what's left? Sarah knew. At the end, when the morphine made her confused, she grabbed my hand and said, "Don't let Marcus take advantage of you. He's our son, but he's weak. Promise me." I promised. I wish I'd understood what she meant sooner. They say Parkinson's is progressive, that it'll get worse, that someday I might need the kind of help Marcus and Jessica pretended to offer. When that day comes, I'll hire professionals, nurses who are accountable, legal advisors who are bound by ethics, people who can't claim they're robbing me out of love. Because that's the real lesson here. The cruelest thefts aren't committed by strangers. They're committed by the people who know exactly how much you love them. And they use that love like a weapon. I'm 61 years old. I have Parkinson's disease. My son is in prison. I live alone in a 2-bedroom condo, and my hands shake so badly sometimes I can't hold a coffee cup. But I saved myself. I called the police. I testified in court. I watched them put handcuffs on my only child, and I didn't stop them. Some people think that makes me heartless. I think it makes me a survivor. And maybe, in the quiet moments when I play chess with Henry and look out at the river, I think it makes me stronger than I knew. My wife used to say that real strength isn't about what you can lift or how far you can run. It's about what you can endure and still stand up straight afterward. The Parkinson's makes my hands shake, but my spine is steel, and I'm still standing.